Good afternoon, friends. Basically, I'll be sharing my experience, which I had in my last posting in 4.5 years in Ministry of Home Affairs while working as Director in Border Management Division. Though professionally I'm a statistician, I'm from Indian Statistical Service, so you may just wonder how come I have experience in this field, but it's how that government runs in India. We switch over to different places on deputations. So this is going to be the outline of my presentation. First, I will discuss some type of land boundaries. There is not only the international border, the land boundaries are also termed as different words, different meanings. Then some regulations along the border, challenges and strategies which India is dealing with. This is the map which we have. We have that border, international border with 7 countries: Pakistan, Bangladesh, Nepal, Bhutan, China, Myanmar, and we have notional border with Afghanistan. Though it is not actual border, but it is a notional border, which is the status which India government maintains. These are type of some land boundaries which we have. We have a very long border, about 15,107 kilometers of land border, international border, which is about 9,300 odd miles. This is international border. Beyond this international border, we have a line of control. Line of control is with Pakistan. It is in the northern part of India. It is basically in Jammu and Kashmir. And I can show you how it is differ from international border. This is basically map of Jammu and Kashmir, the northern part of India. Here you can see that international border is coming from this way. And from here, there is a line of control which goes inside this area. However, the actual border, which should have been as per the India's official position, which should be this one. It is going outside. So this part is in Pakistan occupation right now. And actually this line of control is nothing but a ceasefire line which exists between India and Pakistan and which is not yet officially demarcated. Then we have actual ground position line. If we go again back to the map of J&K, Jammu and Kashmir, this line of control, it ends up to here. It is not connected to the actual border in the north. But the position which was defined at the time of demarcation of line of control is that that border will go northwards. And it was not defined actually, or it was not mapped on the paper. So that line of actual ground control line goes up to this side. It is that line where the military of India and Pakistan actually holds the ground. Then we have line of actual control. Line of actual control lies between India and China. It is basically a perceptual difference between India and China, which is, I have not specified the number of kilometers for this because it is a perceptual difference. India considers it as a border, whereas China considers it as a line of actual control. Then there are some disputed pockets which are actually treated as line of actual control between both the nations. These are some form of regulations which India has along the borders. We have border with Pakistan, which is fenced and which is strictly regulated. It is mostly about 90% of the border is fenced, except for some riverine areas where fence cannot be constructed on the border. And it is so strictly regulated that you may try to jump the fence and then you come to know what will be the consequences. So it is highly strictly regulated. Then we have border with China. It is unfenced because it is not possible to fence. It is all the hilly terrain, Himalayan regions, which is not possible to fence that area. A very difficult high altitude terrain. Then we have border with Nepal and Bhutan. They are unfenced and unregulated. Basically, they are friendly borders, friendly countries. People can go to other country and they are not strictly regulated. Then we have border with Bangladesh. It is mostly fenced. About 3/4 of the border is complete fenced with Bangladesh, and it is regulated. We need visa to go in either of the country. Then we have border with Myanmar, which is unfenced, still not fenced, but it is partially regulated. Partially regulated in the sense that the people at the border have relations with each other. And so they are allowed to travel in either of the country up to 16 kilometers. They can go without visa, without passport. But beyond that, they need a visa to go there. Now some challenges in border management. Actually, there could be many challenges, but I have focused only two main challenges. One is the terrain. Terrain is the most difficult challenge for maintaining or managing the border. And second, of course, is the cross-border crimes. I have prepared a video for you for line of control. It is basically taken from YouTube, but I have edited because it was a huge, so I have edited to make it short and concise. And you can also see the conflict between India and Pakistan in this video.
The most dangerous place in the world today, I think you could argue, is the Indian subcontinent and the line of control in Kashmir.
This is a ceremony which happens every day on Indo-Pakistan border. It is a retreat ceremony, flag retreat ceremony.
There is a danger, a war between India and Pakistan. India cannot attack us because of the bomb. Everyone is always talking about Pakistan's nuclear capabilities and everyone is terrified by them. But we also have nuclear. That must not happen because the alternative is a subcontinent that no longer exists.
This is one of the main entrances.
Yes, they have gone to line of control to see the militarized zone.
Because of the geographical feature and the demographics of the area, they have found a very soft corner here and a right conducive environment for the flourishing.
The reason why this is such a militant superhighway is because A, it's so close to Pakistan, B, the terrain makes it almost impossible to police, and C, because Pakistan continues to train militants and sneak them into India with the sole intent to destabilize the region. So the line of control is not the border.
It's not a border.
No.
It's a temporary arrangement between India and Pakistan.
So we're going up into
Now they are actually going to the line of control.
the LOC, the line of control. It's a very hot zone, and we're hoping someone doesn't lob a grenade into our open. And actually, as I was stupidly making jokes about someone throwing grenades at us, a real terrorist threat was detected, and counter-terrorist procedures were immediately implemented.
We have got information regarding presence of some militants here. So we cover all the areas from where we can possibly draw some fire. Right? Let's go.
Let's go. So there's a lot of terrorists coming.
Exactly. It is the main infiltration route. As you can see, the terrain is unmanageable.
Right.
Very steep slopes.
Yeah.
It is forest. And they make use of this geography and they sneak in from here.
How do they get across?
I think it's sheer motivation on their part and the brainwashing that is done in the camps.
After we were given the all clear, we continued on our way to the Indian side of the line of control. Hello, how are you? Over there is Pakistan. This is the line of control. We're going over to the bridge. We had to take off our military here because it's seen as an insult. There's rangers over there. Trained, they said, if you go out onto the bridge, you go one step too far, they'll shoot you. Now to us, it seemed all very quiet and peaceful for supposedly the most heavy place on earth. But then our Indian guards pointed out all the bunkers and positions that the Pakistani rangers had set up on the mountains. And we were like, oh. So there's bunkers all over there.
12 o'clock.
Oh, I see there, yeah. They have guns.
They've got everything.
So this is the zero line right here, in between India and Pakistan. If If I go on that side, I can say goodbye to my toes. I'm not going to go on that side. You wouldn't think it's one of the most dangerous borders in the world because when you look up, it's just shockingly beautiful.
So here is the contrast actually. In this case, he is not able to even put a foot across the border. Whereas there is borders with Nepal, Bhutan, Myanmar, where people can travel across the border without any passport or visa. Then basically we have different terrain challenges like this with China and with Pakistan also. This is the border this is an outpost. Actually, in this area, it is called forward defense locations, forward defended locations. So you cannot see where the border lies. And it is highly difficult to manage such type of borders. Then there are some plain areas, but these plain areas also have their challenges in the form of fog in winter. In winter, you cannot see even 5 meters. So there are a lot of smuggling, of narcotic smuggling happens in these areas during winter. Then there are some riverine areas which are being managed with the help of these fast patrol boats, fast attack crafts, speedboats. And this is an interesting part. It is called floating border outpost. It actually doesn't go for patrolling. It goes into the river, it anchors there, and then it has about 4 sister boats, which are patrol boats, which goes out in the river for patrolling. Then these are waterlogged areas. And this is creek, marshy areas which we have along the Pakistan border. It is very difficult to manage in these areas. You can see that people carry their stuff or even boats with them. It is not possible to carry it with any vehicle. And this is most interesting terrain. It is creek area along the Pakistan in Gujarat state. It is about 50 miles in width and about 4,000 square kilometers in the area. And you can see to the miles of miles, there is not even a single grass. And this, they uses all-terrain vehicles to patrol these areas, to manage these borders. You may be in Syracuse and don't misunderstand it as a snow. This is salt. It is total salt there. Then another type of terrain is the desert area. It is also along the Pakistan border. It is in Rajasthan. And it has a different challenge of shifting sand dunes. Actually, you can see that there is a bulge this side. Some time ago, it could have been in this area. It shifts. So many a times these fences, they fully get covered under the sand dunes. Sometimes they are exposed from below. Then a different challenge is along the Bangladesh and sometimes along the Nepal border also, that border population lives right up to the border. You can see this border pillar. And the population is right up to the border. Even in case of Bangladesh, there are some examples where the football ground, half of the ground is in India and half of the ground is in Bangladesh. And even some houses, the international border crosses from their lobby or maybe a bedroom. So there are some strange examples. And this is one cultivation right up to the zero line. It is basically along Pakistan border. This area is towards Pakistan. The fence is towards India. These people are doing cultivation outside of the fence towards Pakistan. And it is right up to the zero line, up to the border. So this is also a special challenge in the case that such people, they are highly motivated for smuggling. So when they go to that side, they are very much encouraged to do smuggling, and a lot of narcotic smuggling takes place in this area. And you can see that people are crossing in this area. And another challenge is in the form of these jungles. They are very difficult to manage. Yeah. And this is in Mizoram, it is along the Bangladesh border. You can see that soldiers used to cover every part of their body for guarding, for patrolling. This is the reason, because this is highly infected PF malaria prone areas, where if the insect, that mosquito, if bites, a person can die in 24 hours if it is not treated. So this is a very dangerous place. And the most problem with them is that it is highly humid, hot, and in that temperature they have to maintain this sort of gears. This was the terrain. Now we have some cross-border crime issues, which is another challenge. And as we have already seen in the video, in the LOC, we have armed infiltration issue at the Pakistan border, and narcotics smuggling, which I have just told that about the people who are doing cultivation. There is a narcotic smuggling issues in these areas. Along Bangladesh border, we have issue of illegal immigration. It is not basically infiltration, it is economic illegal immigration, which people comes from Bangladesh to India. And a strange and unique crime is cattle smuggling, which happens on this area. Basically, this cattle smuggling happens from India to Bangladesh. I have a small video for this also. You can see how the cattle is being taken over the fence. How motivated these people are.
Bangladesh is a friendlier neighbor. But guarding a friendly border comes with its own unique challenges.
They are doing night patrolling.
Suspicious movement is spotted on the thermal imager. Cattle smugglers. Chased and caught. 1/4 of the Indo-Bangladesh border is unfenced, making cattle smuggling rampant in these areas. In 2014, close to 2 million cattle, worth millions of dollars, were smuggled across the border. Due to strategic patrolling tactics by the bordermen, these numbers have now sharply declined.
Cattle smuggling is a huge organized crime in that area, and it is actually, I can say, on a verge of decline because of many economic issues and also because of the security issues. But it is a unique crime in that area. Then we had some issues with FICN, but it is over now after the demonetization of the Indian currency last year. That FICN is fake Indian currency note. It was basically smuggled, but it is now almost over. Then there is small petty smuggling of contrabands and human trafficking. Human trafficking is also a major issue, cross-border crimes. Along Myanmar border, we had some issues of infiltration and smuggling. This infiltration is basically what Indian extremist groups, they go in Myanmar and hide at these areas. And then they come back as a form of infiltration. Then we have arms smuggling areas. Now, to counter these terrain and to counter these crimes, there are some border management strategies being adopted. First is regulations. Along Pakistan border, we have a border infrastructure in the form of the fence. Then we have roads for patrolling. Especially these roads are only for patrolling of border guarding forces. And they are provided with floodlights for illumination in night, and then border outposts. Border outposts are basically the fundamental units of border guarding forces right up to the border. They are sometimes even at a distance of 150 or 200 yards right from the border. The same infrastructure is at the Indo-Bangladesh border. Along Indo-China border, there is no fence. It cannot be constructed. It is at a very high altitude Himalayan area. We have border roads and border outposts in those areas for regulations. Then there are unregulated borders like Bhutan, Nepal, Myanmar. There we don't have any fence, border roads especially. The roads are there to go to border, but not the border roads for patrolling. And no floodlighting. Only border outposts are there along the borders for managing the borders. These are some examples of fence. Fence actually was initiated long back up in 1984 between India, and it was decided to construct some part of fence along the some part of Bangladesh border because of high influx of immigrations from that area. Then when it was found that it is a successful barrier in the form of stopping the people, then it was introduced on Pakistan border. So it was not on the Pakistan border first, it was Bangladesh border first, which it was initiated, and then on Bangladesh border, Pakistan border, but it was taken up very fast pace at Pakistan border, and about 90% border is already covered, except for some riverine areas where it is not possible to construct any sort of fence. Then floodlight is a unique example in India. This is a picture from NASA. The floodlight along Indo-Pakistan border is visible even from the satellite. It gives advantage to border guarding forces for patrolling at night. It illuminates that area up to 150 yards. It is designed in such a way that it illuminates up to 150 yards of the border. Then border outposts, as I have already told, that these are small independent units right up to the border. It has a capacity of people, 50 to 70 people, soldiers in border outposts, which goes for patrolling from these border outposts. Now, that recent initiative which India is taking is about technology induction in border management. Actually, when that fence was introduced in 1984, there was not much technologies were available for security. Apparatus was not so much there. But after lot of innovations and lot of technical products are being coming up, this technology induction is also taking up in border management area. Manpower along with sensor communication network are being integrated in the form of smart grid. Actually, it will be a form of a smart grid along the border, which will be the combination of smart fence, sensors, cameras, lasers, command and control system. It will be a centralized command control system with sensors. And communication and intelligence is, of course, the core part of smart grid mechanism. And then the response mechanism for any such nefarious activity whenever it takes place. Because any mechanism it can detect, but it has to be counter with the response mechanism. A sensor can detect, but it will not give the response mechanism. So border guarding force has to make response mechanism into it. Now, since border management aspect is not only to control the illegal activities, it is also to facilitate the legitimate trade and to legitimate migration, or in fact, whatever people are coming, immigrations. So we have constructed integrated checkposts along the land borders. These are same like airports, but these are functioning at land borders. They are functioning at Bangladesh border and Pakistan border right now. Basically, ICPs or integrated checkposts are integration of different facilities which facilitate cross-border immigration and trade. It put in place a system which addresses security along with the facilitation. So it has a single window system where a person can come. If any trade is there, that trade is to be facilitated through that single window system. And this is a very good example of how the border is being connected. Border heart. Heart is basically an Indian word. It is the meaning of heart is weekly market. So what happens, basically the people who are living at the border, there are many examples that those who are living right at the border, they produce some indigenous products. There are some local products which they are not able to sell within their own country in the hinterland back to their cities because of communication or conveyance or different reasons. So those products are many times demanded in the other country, right at the border, because people living at the border, they must have they are having relations with each other. They are having family relations or long back tie-ups are there. So those peoples are connected. So Border Heart plays a very important role in connecting those peoples. I have a video for what basically Border Heart is.
Recently, a new Border Heart became operational at Kamla Sagar in Sipahi Jala district of Tripura, bordering Bangladesh's Brahmanbaria district. This is the second Border Heart in Tripura and the fourth along Indo-Bangladesh border, developed at an approximate cost of 2.5 crore rupees by India's Ministry of Commerce. The Border Heart was jointly inaugurated through video conferencing by Prime Minister Narendra Modi and his Bangladesh counterpart Sheikh Hasina during Modi's recent visit to Dhaka. Some 25 vendors from both sides of the border living within 5-kilometer radius of the market will be able to sell local commodities once a week. Products like vegetables, fruits, spices, dry fish, bamboo products, plastic items and other locally produced garments would be traded here. The commodities sold in the Border Hearts are exempted from custom duties. The border market is expected to put a check on illegal trade activities, besides allowing the people in the bordering villages to earn a living. 2 more such markets are coming up in Tripura and few more are likely to be set up along the bordering states in the future. This will not only give a boost to trade activities and strengthen economic cooperation, but also help in improving people-to-people contacts.
So these are Border Hearts. Now basically why I have pointed it out, border as a separator versus connector. You can see the contrast. On one part of the country, the border acts as a separator. It is a strict barrier between the two nations. You cannot dare to cross it illegally. These are separators. When there is a relation between the two countries are hostile or not so friendly, then the sanctity of border is strictly maintained. On the other hand, we have seen the Border Hearts such as along the Bangladesh border, and there are a few more coming up along different borders. Those activities or those infrastructure act as a connector between the two countries. When the relation between the two countries are friendly, those borders, they act as a combination, as a connector between the two nations. So same border can act as a separator and same border can act as a connector. That's it. Thank you.